Hi there, this is Eric Kaiser. I'm on chapter 14, which is discussing how I take a directional survey directly from the field using the software the company NOV has, and how I reformat it into sizeware. I use the sed command to remove the first line that comes from the default file from NOV. I use the column separator with an awk, and then I do an append the data to the header and to end up on the lower right the output I need. Today I'm going to show you how I go in and take data that comes directly from the field for currently drilling wells to load a directional survey into sizeware. I can do this function in a few seconds once it's been set up, so I'll show you the details of this procedure. The first thing is to use the spotlight to find the program we're going to use, and what we're going to use is the terminal window that comes on every Macintosh. Usually when Windows open, I like to type the pwd command to explain where I am. I then do an ls and it shows me all the files. I now want to take a look at the instructions, which I've done, and I can start typing the words and then press tab complete, and I see the file. This is, I'm looking at the file with VI. I go into the bottom of the file with the uppercase G command, and this is where all the action occurs. In the lower window, we can see, and I'll start this off with one line at a time. So I do a command C and then a command V, and I now have duplicated the file into a temporary file called junk. I type ls-al will give me the attributes, and I see I've got a file exactly the same length. I now want to take the file, and if I head junk, we'll see the file has got some headings, and these are headings that NOV assigns out in the field, and sizeware doesn't have a clue what they mean. So the first thing we need to do is strip it away and then put the sizeware headings on top of the fields that we want. There's one field that sizeware isn't going to use, and that's the number of degrees per 30 meters. That's something that's important for drilling, but not for loading into our geophysical project. The next command that I'm going to run is the echo command using sed, and I do a command C. Sed is a very powerful batch editor, and if we again look at what this does, is the sed command executes the command 1D, which says delete a single line. Its default is at the top of the file, so we now should have a file that does not have any of the headings. So if I type in head space junk, and if you notice there aren't any headings. Now we need some headings, so I take the third line and I go in, and what I'm going to do is just build with the echo command the headings that are appropriate. So I do this command C, command V, command V, and now I should have a file with a heading. And the very last step I have is to going in and taking the file and using the printf command is to go in and take the junk and append the columns. If you take a look at the printf, the first thing I've done is edited this file to be the appropriate API number or unique identifier, and then I select columns 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you notice, there are actually 5 columns in the input data set, but we're just going to ignore the last. So I'm going to copy this command, put it, if I can click this right, and I have it in directional. And now what I'll do is the very last step is to go in, let's take a look at it. Command C, command V. I look at it and I see a file that's got UWI measure depth, and this is a file that, yes, I can actually use to load into sizeware. The final step would be to copy it into the directory or the folder that I can easily input into my sizeware project. In practice, what I really do is I will grab this whole sequence that have my little cheat sheet comments, and I will execute it all in one fell swoop. So I'll do a Command C for all of it, and now Command V, and in less than a second I have the file that I want. As a final check, I would then go in and take the file, double click on it, double click on the file, and it will open up because it's a CSV file, it's going to open up into numbers on a Mac. And if you take a look now, it's formatted in a pretty fashion. It's got UWI, measure depth, TVD, inclination, and azimuth. So I do this a couple of times a day when we're drilling with multiple rigs, and it makes my life a lot easier to use this little bit of Unix. I'm using an awk, I use the sed command, I use the echo command. So there's basically a 3-line program that I'm running, and it just makes my life easier and faster every day.